Good evening, everybody, on the VC. Dark Dove with another vinyl update. What a week it has been last week. Thursday of last week, went to see Neil Young and Crazy Horse live here in Cork at the Marquee. What can I say? An absolutely fantastic gig. Much better than I expected. There was a lot of bad feedback to his gig in Dublin of last year, so I was slightly apprehensive, but I needn't have had any doubts because he did basically he did a lot of crowd pleasers, which was kind of surprising. He did a lot. He did Heart of Gold and After the Gold Rush, but he threw in a lot of you know uh, tunes to get the crowd going as well. Uh, Rockin' in the Free World and a lot of classic Crazy Horse tunes. So yeah, so that was on Thursday. Then on the following day, I touched base with the Earl of Suave, Jimmy Patton. And for all of those who've seen Ben Costello's latest video update, the Earl himself touched down on these shores. He paid a visit to Ireland to see the Brian Jonestown massacre in Dublin. So he stayed with Ben in Limerick, and they went to see the concert. So on Friday, he came down here on the bus to Cork. So I showed him around, showed him some of the sites associated with Rory Gallagher, showed him the Rory Gallagher exhibit in the local library, which has his guitar on display and numerous photos, etc. So a great day was had. It was a bit of a flying visit. He was here for approximately 4 hours, I think. We did quite a bit of record hunting. Now Jimmy insisted on buying me a record plugged in the local independent record store. What he got me was just unbelievable. This is Swans' latest album, To Be Kind, a follow-up to the Seer, the CD of which I showed my last vinyl update. So it's a triple album, and it comes with this intriguing artwork involving babies, as you can see. It's kind of embossed images of babies on the sleeve. There's 6 in total. There we go. And yeah, so it's a triple album. I so far have had just a chance to listen to one LP, very much in the vein of the Seer, but you couldn't say that it's like, just that they're rehashing the Seer. It's definitely, it's taken quite an interesting different direction, but again, I've only listened to half of it so far, but this sounds to me to be one of the albums of the year, no doubt about it. And also comes with a poster. So Jimmy, that this was just absolutely fantastic. I insisted on giving him some, on paying for at least half of it, but Jimmy just insisted on getting it. So that was just amazing, Jimmy. So thanks again to the Earl, and I had a fantastic time. with the man himself, and I just really enjoyed touching base with him and showing him around Cork, and showing him the sights. So there we go. And okay, so moving on to my other recent vinyl pickups. This is something else I picked up in the same record store recently in Plugged. This is Free Agents, who are basically a group set up by Pete Shelley of the Buzzcocks. They normally went under the name of the Tiller Boys, and this is basically that same group with one or two lineup changes. This was originally released in 1980. The original is very rare and expensive. This is a reissue from a couple of years ago. I got this in the half price bargain section, which is basically where they stick all the stuff which doesn't sell. So the Cork hipster kids don't seem to be, they don't know what they're missing out on, but their loss is my gain, as I got this for half its normal price. Yeah, it also recreates the original flyer, the insert which came with it. Musically, it is kind of very experimental, industrial kind of noise rock. Yeah, so quite an interesting pickup, and for a nice bargain. Something else which I picked up recently. This is an album which I had before on CD. So now I have it on vinyl. William Orbit, Strange Cargo, his second album from 1987. Early ambient electronica. On the IRS label. Here we go. I didn't actually own this album when I listened to it on CD. By the way, I rented it out from the music library here in town, and it's an album which I remember I really enjoyed hearing it first time around. So I was quite happy to pick it up on vinyl. Now, next one is something kind of unusual. This is something which I picked up for almost nothing. I picked it up for €3, which I think translates to roughly about £1.50 sterling. This is a soundtrack album. It is the soundtrack to a movie called Juliet of the Spirits, which was directed by Fellini, the Italian director. So it's by Nina Rota, and this is a French pressing. Kind of interesting kind of graphics there. I don't know too much about this particular pressing. It's on it's on a label called Lumiere, and it's not mentioned on Discogs. There's almost nothing about it up on the internet about this particular pressing, so it's a bit mysterious, but quite interesting, and I picked it up for nothing, and it's an interesting find. I would like to find out maybe a little bit more about it, because there's virtually nothing about this particular pressing up online. Okay, next up I'm going to show you a CD, which I bought online. Now this is by Cosey, Fanni, Tutti of Throbbing Gristle fame, and this is called Time to Tell, a solo album which originally was released on cassette in the early 80s. It's been reissued a couple of times since. Now this is a 2000 reissue on CTI. Quite hard to come across, actually, in CD form as well. It comes with a quite extensive booklet. There's interviews, pictures, very informative. Now there's quite a few pictures of Cosi herself in a nip, without any clothes on, so I'd probably better not show those. I'll just show you this rather tasteful picture over there, where she's got some clothes on. But yes, so this is it's kind of in the vein of Chris and Cosy's post Throbbing Gristle work, electronica, quite ambient. Time to Tell, the title track. It's a very long track. It's kind of has this kind of unusual hypnotic kind of quality to it, and as Cosi herself narrates a spoken word narration over it. So yeah, so I don't think it's ever been released on vinyl, as far as I'm aware. The original cassette is quite rare and goes for a lot. This is the most recent issue of it, as far as I know, which came out 14 years ago in 2000. So perhaps it'll get a vinyl release someday. Okay, now what I'm going to show you next is something which I actually mentioned in my last video. I had mentioned that I had seen this actual album that I'm going to show you now for sale, but that it was kind of beyond my price reach, and I was informed that it had been sold. But I popped into the shop where they had it, just on the off chance, and I found out that whoever had originally meant to buy it had actually they changed their mind, so it hadn't sold. So it was reduced in price. It is Songs for the Gentleman by Bridget St. John, and this is on the Dandelion label, which I have shown a few items from this label before. In fact, in my last vinyl update video I showed you a Dandelion sampler album which I had picked up. Now there we go. Now there's 3 variations on the Dandelion label. This is my favorite one, I think. Very colorful, very nice looking label. As with quite a lot of releases on the Dandelion label, this is quite rare because it didn't sell an awful lot on original release. It came out in 1971. Now Bridget St. John, She's a kind of folk psych, I suppose you could call it, somewhat in the vein of John Martin or Nick Drake, kind of almost like a female version. Well, you know, kind of putting maybe a female perspective on that type of particular folk music, which was emerging in the late 60s, early 70s. It's in really, really nice condition. I don't think they turn up in this kind of in condition as good as this quite often. The sleeve is quite nice as well, but I do notice it has been kind of somebody has taken a kind of a black pen and shaded in some of the ring wear on it. Down here as well, there's some wear where it's been kind of shaded in, but other than that, it's in really nice nick. There isn't somebody scribbled a name there, but I love the artwork on this. Somewhat psyche. Dr. Strangely Strange, I know that you are heavily into this label. You have a big interest in Dandelion, so I know this you find this quite interesting. So so that's pretty much it. So big shout out to Ben Costello and the Earl. Again, I really enjoyed touching base with Jimmy, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So so thanks, Jimmy, and thanks for that fantastic VCLT, and thanks to everybody watching. So tune in again next time.